It's 8:36, and we got a lot to get into. So, first thing I'm going to say, we're going to go to our all of our guests here who are Justins. So please come down if you're still in the area.
Come on, Atlanta. Come on down to Justin.
I want to ask you. I don't want to get off the subject of your book, Conversations. What's one of the biggest things in your book? Because again, we're here with Hill Harper. The name of his book is called Conversations: How Black Men and Women Can Build Loving, Trusting Relationships. What was one of the biggest things that you found out in writing the book that maybe you didn't even know yourself?
I tell you, one of the biggest things is interviewing couples that have been together for a long period of time, and then in terms of the sheet that they would fill out for me, talking about they would rate their happiness, etc. By far, the biggest surprising thing is the question when I asked, what do you believe is the number one thing that has kept you together? And there's tons of choices, and I thought that something was going to come up, like Wanda said, trust, honesty, this, or even some people would, we've been talking about sex a lot already, sex. None of those things were even near the top. The number one and number two things.
Food. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Are very related. But the number one thing was an F word, actually. Fun, F-U-N. And the number two thing was laughter. Fun and laughter. And at the end of the day, we can have conversations all we want about talking about whether you should have sex or not, or whether this person is trustworthy, or whether men want to commit. But at the end of the day, from my research doing this book, laughter in a relationship and fun, if those two things do not exist, it doesn't matter how good the sex is. If those two things don't exist, it doesn't matter how successful the individuals are. If those two things don't exist, it doesn't matter, because the relationship ultimately won't be sustainable. And if it's not sustainable, what's the point?
All right. Let's go to the audience. Nina Brown.
We start with this one?
Yes, right there.
Okay.
All right, y'all, get ready for this.
Hi, my name is Rachel Williams, and I'm just going to represent for the 20s generation for a second. I wanted to know, if your man wants to have a threesome, does that mean he doesn't value your relationship as much?
Is this a personal question?
Okay. No.
I just.
All righty then. I'm gonna
Because
sit
that's a
down
20-something answer right there.
Now who the heck getting ready to answer that? Come on, doctor.
Hill.
Come on, doctor.
waiting.
Hill.
I think that
Wow.
you know what? Let me say this here. And the people that I've talked to, I think it's a two-part answer you got to understand. Number one, the threesome that most young folk are talking about is just stuff they've heard in songs and stuff like that. It's like a visionary thing that they're hearing. That's number one. But for a man to ask you to have a threesome, I think you need to have a conversation and ask him why. Like, why do you want to do that? And get to the bottom of why. Because then maybe you'll find some answers out in his why.
Well, I think she's playing with fire as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you letting somebody else into your relationship, and I think he's testing you. He could see if you're just a straight up freak, and I doubt that it's going to add value to your wife quality. Now, maybe you're not looking to be a wife, maybe you're not looking to be a committed relationship, but I'm thinking as a man is asking you that, why are you with him? And I'm not against doing an alternative thing, but if you're really trying to settle down, you're trying to be with someone, the minute he asks you that, you need to look at him like he's crazy.
But wait a minute, that's unfair, because there are tens of thousands of swingers in Atlanta. Come on now, this is real talk. Now let's be real. If you're going to be real, you got to be real about it. There's a lot of people that do that. What you think, Hill?
But thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Franksky.
Thanks, Frank. Obviously, for me, what Wanda? Wanda, you reminiscing about your own personal?
No, I was sitting over there looking at Frank when he said, "Now hold up, now stop it."
Okay.
No, here's the question for me is, I think Frank is right, and in his way about communication. Talking to someone about what's going on, why they want or suggesting something. Now, I don't ever want to be, and this is, again, coming out of the book, no one should be in your bedroom. Meaning,
Thank you.
his opinion, this person's opinion, whatever.
Yes.
What you do is your own personal business, and that's your own relationship, and you are able to chart that course how you want. That's your business. Now,
Right.
the question, though, is are you doing things that are healthy for you and healthy for the relationship if you want a relationship with this person? So it really comes down to what type of relationship do you want? And what is healthiest for you and your self-esteem, who you are, and is going to help manifest the type of person you want to be. Now, if that type of activity falls in line with that, that's your business. If that type of activity doesn't fall in line, and the way to find out this out is to ask yourself a very simple question. Intuitively, how do you feel when these suggestions are
Right.
made? If
Right.
it doesn't feel right, then it's not right. Right? But that's for you to decide. Now, folks over here can say, let him go, or what's his number, or, whatever. That's them projecting their experience and their fears and their ideas onto you. For me, fear stands for false evidence appearing real.
Can I ask her a question? I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, when he asked you that,
She said it's not personal.
yes it is. Listen, when he asked you that, honestly, as a woman, what did that make you feel like? Were you like, whoa, or were you like, I mean, honestly, what did you think about?
I mean, I wasn't really speaking on me, but I know a married couple that had asked me to do a threesome with them.
Right.
And to me, it made me realize that he didn't really respect her as much. And they were newlyweds. And I know she came to me kind of like her feelings were hurt. So it was just, that's why I asked the question, because it's not
Right.
just 20s. These people are in their 30s, and it's a man that's approaching her about it. So
Okay.
So you just said it. If her feelings were hurt, then there's
Yes.
something
As a
wrong.
woman.
There's a
That's-
problem.
that's
A
why I
fun-
said
a
talk
fundamental
about it.
problem.
Look, here's another thing to think about, okay? And just to put it in real terms for everybody in here, at what age do you think our young people are starting to have sex?
I can answer that one.
Well,
I can answer that one.
Okay, so understand where I'm going for a minute. If young people are starting to have sex at 12 and 13, how do you think they care about sex at 21? They really don't. So what I'm saying to you is when we're talking about a younger generation mind point of view, you got to understand where some of these younger generation people are coming from. They are coming from an age where sex was not important. Sex cannot be important at 12. It cannot be important at 13 and 14. Okay, so you're dealing with a generation of women now who are in their mid-20s that started having sex at 14. So when they're in their mid-20s, they don't have the same perspective on what you think sex is at 40 and what they think sex is at 25. So when I said that sounds old, that's what I'm talking about. When you get a question like, do you want to have a threesome? It's a whole different thing than about a loving relationship or whatever. It's just a activity. You know what I'm saying? It's extracurricular activity. To a lot of young people, sex is just extracurricular activity. When they go to a club and they meet somebody.
But it shouldn't be.
I agree.
But it is.
But
So
it-
what I'm saying is when I say you got to talk about it, I'm saying you got to find out where they are in their life. Because if you're dealing with someone whose sex is just an extracurricular activity, then you're better prepared and you expect to get answers and questions like that.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
Frank is right. I mean, when you start thinking about that, I mean, there are a lot of women that do have casual sex and they end up getting scarred and they end up getting abused because they think that's going to endear them to that man. And one of the things that Hill talked about in his book, because I did read, it's an excellent read, he talked about manning up and that we had to have a conversation with him about, hey, you're married, man, why are you stepping out? Now, I'm not judging. Everyone does their own thing. But it's about if you feel that that's hurting your relationship and you're friends with his wife, you should feel compelled to have a side conversation with him. I mean, not judging him, but saying, look, I've done my stuff too, but do you think that's the best for the relationship?
Right. What, Nina Brown?
I got a question. My name is Jay. I'm from Tallahassee. I went to FSU. Anyways, I'm asking, can a man and a woman be platonic friends? So, like, if you're in a relationship, should you automatically be questioning their male friends or their, female friends?
I personally believe yes. I have an example. Gabrielle Union is one of my best friends. People have said for years that we've been together, we've done this, and this. None of it is true.
That's because you haven't seen her new pictures, but go ahead.
Okay.
Frank, come over
I'm
here and
about-
sit down by me.
I'm just saying, have y'all
So-
seen Gabrielle Union's new pictures?
Okay.
No, we ain't.
Wow. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Don't
Michael.
digress. And that makes a good. No, Frank makes a great point. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And we hang out together, and folks see us together, and they think that, oh wow, that's a couple. We are strictly platonic, have been, and we're the best of friends. And she's been through a lot, I've been through a lot, and we support each other through it. So I do believe men and women can be platonic friends with no desire or expectation for something more. And oftentimes that's not the case. Sometimes there is. But I do believe it's possible. So to answer your question, I believe yes, and I'm an example of that.
I believe most men would say yes. What do you think, Doctor?
You have to be secure. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
trying to handcuff your man or handcuff your woman, you're not really secure. I mean, I want my woman to be desired by other men. I want her to have healthy male friendships. However, the men need to back me up in their argument. They don't need to call and have negativity in a relationship. Now, they can call me on Front Street. They can tell me what I'm doing wrong, but I don't want them adding negativity. So, women, here's a key tip. When you start hating on other women and you start trying to handcuff your man and trying to control him, all you're doing is making that other woman look so much more attractive to him, because what you just said is that she has something that you don't. All right, and so I wasn't interested in her at first, but now you're making me look at her because you're saying that she's a threat to our relationship. I was focused on you, but you keep talking about how cute she's not and how she doesn't have this, and we see this so much, especially in our community. We hate each other, you know? Give her a compliment. That's going to make me feel that you're confident in who you are.
And also, let's be clear, whether it's men or women, we have to be careful not to get into a habit of having more honest conversations with the friend than we do with our partners.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And so what can start to happen is that's where the nascent jealousy and that's where it can start to crop up, because it's like, well, why are you talking to them about this? Why not talking to me? And so you can still have a friendship, but if I'm gonna have, I can have Gabrielle as my great friend and we can talk about things. But if I'm unwilling and if I don't talk to my partner who I'm dating about the same issues, then that's a problem.
Because there's two forms of cheating. There's physical cheating, and then there's emotional cheating as well. Your little, Facebook conversations and stuff, All right, I ain't gonna go there. All right, the name of the book is called The Conversation: How Black Men and Women Can Build Loving, Trusting Relationships. Hill Harper is our special guest. Big shout out to Burger King sponsoring the hour. Burger King, have it your way. It's the People's Station, V103.